Hello everybody, it's almost the end of July, so I'm pretty much a month late with this, but I wanted to share the books that I read in June. I wanted to share them briefly, and honestly I only read 3 books in June, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. Side note, I'm so sorry that it's so dark in here. I have no idea what's going on. I guess it's a little bit cloudy today, but we're gonna roll with it. I also have an exciting little giveaway that I'm hosting on this channel, which I'm gonna be talking about a little bit later in the video. So stick around if you wanna hear about that, or skip to the end if you really don't wanna hear about the books that I read, but I think you do. I think you wanna hear about it. In the month of June, I read A Wrinkle in Time, the graphic novel, and oh my goodness, I could not have timed this more perfectly. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for the Wrinkle in Time movie that's coming out, but I'm so excited. I did not know that was a thing, and I just happened to stumble upon it on Twitter. And I'm so freaking pumped. I also did not know that there was a graphic novel version of A Wrinkle in Time. And let me just say, I adored this so much. If you don't know about A Wrinkle in Time, which I would be surprised, but hey, sometimes things slip through the cracks. This is basically a story about a girl named Meg who's just kind of figuring out her place in the world and really wrestling with just being misunderstood by teachers and peers and sometimes even family. Her parents are scientists, and so one day on this dark and stormy night, she and her brother Charles Wallace and her mom are greeted by this stranger who just happens to be, I think, in their basement. This stranger just kind of happens to throw everything into chaos, and the story gets really interesting from there. Meg's father has been missing because he went off experimenting with like the 5th dimension of time travel, no big deal. And what happens next is just this really fun, time and space adventure story. I just absolutely love it. It's that quintessential good over evil story that I just love reading about as a kid and as an adult. And this is just such a lovely, lovely graphic novel. It's cute, it's simple, the illustration is really simple and just perfect. Honestly, I feel like it really enriched my appreciation for the original story. A Wrinkle in Time is such a visual story, and so sometimes I remember reading the original and having just a hard time really visualizing some of the time and adventure space elements that are super visual. And so reading this kind of helped me better understand certain things that I had kind of missed the first time reading this as a kid. I guess just seeing Hope Larson's interpretations of the character and the story at large was just really, I don't know, it was inspiring. I feel like I can appreciate the graphic novel version, but it also gave me a better understanding of the original. I also read The Nest by Cynthia Sweeney in the month of June, and guys, this is the reason I didn't read a lot in the month of June, because this took me the entire month to read. You've heard me talk about this in my vlog, but this is a story about 4 adult siblings who share this inheritance. And just when the inheritance is about to be dispersed among them, the oldest sibling, Leo, gets into an accident that is pretty sketchy. He's involved in drugs. It becomes a thing. And so because of this accident and his drug addiction, the whole family fortune is kind of at stake. And so things kind of play out from there. A lot of people said that this was a warm and funny and, acutely perceptive debut novel. And I definitely agree that it's acutely perceptive. I was definitely impressed by the author's ability to just kind of unravel what's really going on inside a character's mind and just kind of that complex human nature. But I did not find this warm or funny at all. Like I said, the author definitely has a talent for sort of cutting to the heart of human nature and the heart of family dysfunction, which I found to be really interesting. I did really enjoy that in this book. This book is really about family tensions and financial tensions and the assumptions that we carry and how those assumptions that we carry about ourselves or other people really define those people to us or define ourselves. Ultimately, the descriptions were incredible. I found the writing to be super smooth and impressive. I did think that it was slow. It did take me a whole month to read. And I think that's because it's not super plot driven. And so, I was intrigued. I was turning pages because I was intrigued in that way, to see what the characters were thinking and what was going to happen. I was disappointed with the ending, and I'm not going to give anything away, but it just wasn't as satisfying as I hoped it would be. And it's not that I expect books like this to end with a pretty little bow and have everything be tied together, but I think I was just expecting to see more character growth. I definitely don't have an issue with reading about characters who are flawed or not likable in any way. I can do that as long as I'm able to connect in some way to that character. I mean, they have to have like some redeemable quality, or I have to understand where they're coming from at least a little bit. Otherwise, you feel so distanced from the characters. That said, I definitely felt connected to some of the characters, and I could see the intentions and motivations really clearly. But towards the end, I was still hoping for a little bit more character growth. Just a little bit more. But I mean, I think that's just how the story was. It's sort of like this situation unravels everything, and then there's just this downfall of a lot happening. I did want to talk about the twin relationships in this story. Anytime there are twins in a book, I instantly gravitate towards that because I'm a twin, and I just find it interesting to see how people talk about twins and what the twins think about each other. It's something that I have always been interested in. And even though I didn't connect with those characters, I loved their relationship and just kind of the way that they looked at the world through the lens of being a twin was just super interesting. In fact, I wanted to read a section that I feel like really perfectly describes that twin relationship. It says, "This was the thing about having a twin, the enveloping, comforting, disconcerting thing. They were equal parts, and seeing the other doing something was almost like doing it yourself. You are each other's pulse," Melody would tell them all the time, and Louisa believed it. She didn't always like it, but she believed it. When their father had taught them to ride a two-wheeler, Louisa was terrified. Every time he let go of her bike, she felt the loosening at the back wheel and stopped pedaling in sheer terror of that her bike would slow and wobble and tip, and she'd have to jump off and free herself from the spinning spokes and whirring pedals. "Let's let Nora have a go," Walt finally said. Then it was Nora's turn. Nora, who was always more fearless, more agile, and when Louisa watched her father run with Nora's bike and then release the back tire and saw Nora lean into the pedals, pump her legs faster, give the bike the speed and ballast it needed to stay upright, it was almost as if she'd done it herself. She could feel it exactly. Watching Nora's body do something gave her the concurrent muscle memory. The next time Louisa tried the bike and her father let go, she flew. That's just so good. It's so true. I relate to that on such a deep spiritual level. My sister was always the first one to do anything. I was always the scaredy cat. So I don't know. I loved that. I feel like she had the best grasp on what being a twin was like. But anyway, that's a tangent. I did like this book. It was slow, it was complex. I wasn't super happy with the ending. I'd say I'd give it 3 stars. But yeah, I feel like you either love it or hate it. Most people would tell me you either love it or you hate it. But I feel like I was pretty undecided. Like I was sort of on the fence. I'm glad I read it though. The next book that I read or listened to was The Evolution by Mara Dyer. So this is the second book in the Mara Dyer trilogy. Obviously, I can't really go into the second book without spoiling the first book, but if you haven't heard of this series, it's basically a YA paranormal / romance kind of book / kind of contemporary, and it's about a girl named Mara who she's kind of an unreliable narrator, and she's coping with the trauma of her best friend dying in the first book, along with all of these sort of paranormal, unnatural occurrences. And so she's figuring out a lot. There's a love interest in this book that's probably the majority of the book is kind of centered on that love interest. When I read The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, the first book in the trilogy, I liked it. It was an addictive story for sure. I wasn't super in love with the book. There were parts of the romance that kind of annoyed me. Noah Shaw's character kind of annoyed me. But I was intrigued with the story, and I was definitely wanting to pick up the second book. So I decided to just listen to it. Because I found a narrator and she was really, really good. Like totally what I imagined Mara's voice to be like. She wasn't so great with the British accents, I will kind of admit that right now. But listening to this story on audio just kind of takes on this whole new level of like creepy thriller vibes. I really, really enjoyed it. I feel like the second book in general takes on more of a creepy vibe than the first book. It really becomes a darker story in the second book, and there are some twists that I totally was not expecting. I enjoyed the first book in the sense that there was some good introductions and backstory and that kind of thing, but I can totally appreciate how the story has evolved in the second book, no pun intended. There's a side story that I'm not gonna get into because spoilers, but I'm just gonna call it Before. So if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. So that side story, I was really, really hoping to get more out of in the second book. That was like my only criticism of the second book, really. I just wanted more of that story. It didn't feel super cohesive with the rest of the story, and I was intrigued by it, wanted to learn more. So those are the books that I read in June. I actually almost finished Marlena in June, but I ended up taking a few days into July to finish this one. I'm gonna be talking about this in my July wrap-up. And I just want to say that I loved this book so much. I mean, already a favorite of the year. If you haven't heard of it, definitely look it up. Again, I'll be talking about it later. And now for the giveaway. The kind folks at Books and Ballads reached out to me to see if I'd be interested in reviewing some of their t-shirts. If you don't know about Books and Ballads, they're a bookish apparel brand. Basically, they sell a lot of different things, mostly clothing for bookish lovers, bookish people. They have these really cute tote bags that I want to go and buy. But anyway, they sent me some shirts to review, and also they want to host a giveaway on my channel, which is really exciting. And they've given me a discount code for 10% off, which you guys can use on any order. So that's awesome. All of that information will be down below. The code is Molly10 in case you're curious. You've probably seen quite a few of these giveaways in the bookish booktube community, which is awesome because you have more opportunities to win this really cute t-shirt. Isn't this the cutest shirt ever? It says, "Coffee and Books Kinda Day," and this is the one that you can get with the giveaway. I love it. It fits really well. It's super soft. And yeah, it's just the perfect bookish shirt. You know what I'm saying? So Books and Ballads, they're not paying me to host this giveaway or anything like that. I just genuinely thought you guys would be interested in winning this t-shirt because it's super cute. So to win this shirt, to enter the giveaway, you have to do, I guess, 3 things. First, subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I mean, I had to. And then second, follow Books and Ballads on Instagram. I'll leave their information down below so you can do that easily. And then once you've done those 2 things, leave a comment down below with your Instagram handle, and I will pick a random winner. I promise it will be random. I will contact the winner by August 4th. Through Instagram. I'll DM you. Yeah, you have until August 4th to enter. And if you really like Books and Ballads like I do, go ahead and feel free to follow them on all their social media. You only need to follow them on Instagram for this giveaway. Also, if you don't win this t-shirt through my giveaway, make sure to look around on YouTube. I'm sure there are other booktubers who are hosting a giveaway, so hopefully you'll have plenty of opportunities. And definitely use that 10% discount if you're interested in any of their other shirts. They also sent me this shirt, and I totally adore this shirt. It says "Drunk on Books." I love the minimalist design, and it's like a super soft, like super soft white t-shirt, which you just can never have enough of. Anyway, the giveaway is going to be the Coffee and Books t-shirt, but clearly they have some other great designs. So yeah, that's my June wrap up and my little giveaway that I'm hosting. If you missed all of that information, just make sure to look down below. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're reading a lot of awesome books this month. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.